Alrighty, my badass sexy aliens on the internet, we are back again with a intense weekly horoscope for you guys. Thank you guys also for on my community page for all of the great ideas. I did not expect to have that much feedback. I'm like still going through them. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to my community page. But this week is intense, okay? I hope you enjoyed your week off last week. I didn't do one last week because I was working on the May horoscopes, which if you haven't seen, go check out. I know they're a little bit shorter this month, but this is a week where we are building up to the Scorpio Full Moon, which happens next Monday on the 12th. And that full moon is crazy because Uranus is involved. The sun will basically be conjunct Uranus, and the moon is going to be squaring Pluto and then Mars on the build up to it. So there's a lot to be said this week about sore spots, wounds that haven't quite closed just yet, being vulnerable, speaking about things that have been bothering us internally, hidden things, secrets, burdens, emotional attachments are going to be really coming to the surface this week. That's basically the name of the game. Old programming and old fears, like where we have felt like we cannot move forward towards the things that we want or towards the life that we want, whether it be physically, materially, relationally, like towards relationships and love and career, wherever it may be. We've like gotten a glimpse of what we desire over the last several months, and we've had to tie off a lot of karmic loose ends spiritually over the last several months. And now we're getting to a place where we have a desire for something, or we have a glimpse of a desire for something, but our fears are in the way. Our old programming is in the way. And, this is not so much about the past. I mean, some of it is about the past still, because again, the North Node is in Pisces and we're going to have a full moon in Scorpio, which usually does bring up the past at times, but more so about our fears moving forward now, where the past is affecting us from moving forward now in the present moment, where old versions of us, old mindsets, old programming of what we can and cannot do are holding us back. And this is a week where it could get messy, emotional, vulnerable. There could be some deep cathartic experiences that happen, some deep emotional purging that happens, but it is cathartic in some way. It is useful in some way. Some of it may seem messy and dramatic and intense, and we may be like, why is this happening? But this horoscope is going to help you realize why it's happening. So relax, take your seat, okay? Get you a crystal, a snack, a drink, whatever you need to get cozy and comfortable. And we are going to get into this bad boy because this is a hell of a week that you do not want to miss. Be sure to come back this week as well. If, you start feeling that intensity, if it starts feeling like a lot and you're like, wait a second, come back to this. And I guarantee there will be something in it that maybe you missed the first time that, really lands the second time, or something that you need to hear that ends up helping you. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in, shall we? So this week is really interesting. I'm going to actually talk about some of the more smaller mundane transits this week as well, give you kind of like a day-to-day horoscope. We're going to start with Tuesday, just since I'm uploading this on Monday, and pretty much by the time you'll see it, the day's already over, so we don't care about Monday. But we are going to talk about next Monday because that's when the Scorpio full moon happens. So anyway, we're going to start with Tuesday, which is May 6th. And on May 6th, on Tuesday, we're going to have Mercury coming into its conjunction with Chiron in Aries. And that same day, we are going to also have Venus given a little sextile here to Pluto in Aquarius. Kind of like, winking at him like, hey, what's up, god of the underworld? I see you there, right? And this is really interesting to me. First, I'm going to start with Venus sextile Pluto. And this is kind of like, first off, Venus in Aries. I really realized Venus in Aries is kind of fun and flirty. And she almost uses conflict or tense situations as a way to flirt, as a way to have fun, which is basically like, let's find pleasure in the conflict. If I gotta be in a confrontational sign of Aries, if I gotta be in the God of War sign, we're gonna find some freaking fun in it, right? Like, we're gonna find some damn pleasure in it. Like, why not, right? So it's kind of like a catch me if you can energy. It's kind of like a back and forth, catch me if you can kind of energy. And so, but Venus in Aries is very much kind of reflecting on, what do I desire and what do I want to take action on? What do I desire to take action on? And what do I actually want for myself individually? What is my own independent desires? Regardless of what anybody else thinks, this is what I want or how I want to express myself. Venus in Aries is sick of considering everybody else before she goes after what she wants. So Venus in Aries goes after what she wants before she considers what everybody else wants. And that's kind of the energy that we're in right now. We're in an energy of like, well, what do you want? Stop worrying about what he wants, what she wants, what they want, what the world wants, what society wants. What do you want? What do you really desire? If all of their feelings weren't involved, or all of their decisions or wants or not, like whatever, weren't involved, what would you want? And it's kind of like that. It's like, I want to chase after what I want. I desire to go after what I want. This is what I want to take action on. And Venus sextiling Pluto is saying that what I want, society, Aquarius, may not agree with. It may be unconventional. It may look weird to other people. And what I want, may involve some messiness, some chaos. What I desire may be a little bit dark in terms of what society looks at. What I desire may have a certain depth to it. Venus in Aries sextiling Pluto desires depth. It desires more depth. It desires more of a evolutionary connection, something that is evolutionary and potentially unconventional. And, other people may not agree with that, and that's okay. Venus, this is kind of a rebellious sextile in my opinion. It's going after what we desire, doing the rebellious thing, going against the grain, because what we desire somehow goes against the grain. But with this Mercury Chiron conjunction also happening in Aries, we need to get our mind on board. Our mind has some issues with this. It's a sore spot. So it's like we have this desire to take action on the things that we want. We are becoming very clear about our own self-led desires. We are coming very clear about our own singular independent desires, or our desires for independence. And Mercury conjunct Chiron is like convincing the mind, because there's some kind of sore spot, vulnerability, insecurity, wound within the mind space, or within the plans, or within the mindset. And this is where we're like, but in the past, when you went after what you want, in the past, when you took a risk, in the past, when you desired independence, what happened? Oh yeah, that's right. Bad things. You were flying high, and then you caught a bullet, or another bird ran into you and just knocked you right down, And so the Mercury Chiron conjunction is like, well, I don't know about that, Venus. I want it too. Mercury's in Aries as well. I want it too. I desire what, and Venus is coming off of this conjunction with Neptune, right? It's like, ooh, I have this fantasy, and it's like fun, and who cares if people get pissed? I desire this, and I want this, and I'm going to go after it. And who cares if it's confrontational? Who cares if it's unconventional? It's very much testing the waters. It's a testy kind of desire. It is definitely a testy kind of desire. It is an edgy kind of desire. What we are desiring right now is edgy, or deals with independence or singularity in some way, setting ourselves free from something. Because that's very Aries, challenging ourselves. It's something that involves a challenge or transformation. But Mercury Chiron is like, oh, I don't know how to speak about it, or I don't know how to think about it, because there's some past wounding, some past insecurities, some past perceived curse that we have, that we're like, every time I've kind of been here before, or every time when I took a risk before, when I went out, before and pioneered my last path, it wasn't too pretty. So can I really do it? Can I really do this again? Like, do I have the strength? Aries, do I have the strength? Do I have the level of ambition to fight for what I desire again, to chase what I desire again? Can I really do this? And so this is kind of what we're heading into. And you may already be feeling this right as the week starts. It doesn't have to just be on Tuesday. Could even still be feeling it by Wednesday. But there's something here that's like, oh, this is a sore spot. We desire something, but it's also bringing up a lot of fears and a lot of sore spots. And I know this has something to do with what we want or what we desire, because Venus is involved, and Venus rules all of these Taurus transits that we have right now, and we're also in Taurus season. So it's like we want to be planning and going after the things that feel good in our lives, but we're looking around at our lives and we're like, wait, does it really feel good? Venus is in fallen Aries. No, there's something missing. There's something edgy or that's challenging or that is internally conflicted with where we're at right now. And so it's like, well, to plan for what I desire and to plan for the things that I want to create and build in my life, I've got to face that it's going to be confrontational. I've got to get honest with myself. So I feel like Tuesday is kind of the start of like getting honest with ourselves. And I'm going to give you guys a lot of tips because I feel like this is kind of a reoccurring theme this week. I'm going to give you guys some like practical things that you can do if you are relating to all of this, if you are on this frequency, if you're ride this frequency with me and it is landing with you. I'm going to give you all kinds of things to do. But this is a week of messiness in some way, shape, or form. And so we're realizing Tuesday and maybe even into Wednesday and maybe even feeling it on Monday that we have sore spots. We may also see this with like wounded masculinity traits, wounded mind, control issues, Mercury, ruling Virgo where the South Node is. It's like we fear what we don't have control over, and we fear our ability to be able to handle shit with it being in Aries. Because we are forgetting one key element. We are forgetting that we are the mother effing one. We are the one. That is Aries, alpha energy. I am the one. If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be me. Who better to rock this shit than you? Who better? And if, things don't go the way that you think they will go, which they never actually will go that way. There will always be some, road bumps, curves, paths. You will veer off the path at some point. You will hit some curbs at some point. You will come across some speed bumps. There will be some challenges along the way that you do not expect or that you could not anticipate. And that is okay. Evolution. We have our whole lifetimes to evolve. Pluto and Aquarius. Evolution. Progressing. As long as you're progressing, as long as you learn something from it. Remembering the power that you hold. You may not be able to control every little thing that happens, but you've been able to deal with everything that can happen, or else you wouldn't be here. So it's like, stop doubting your ability to deal with stuff. Stop doubting your ability to handle the stuff that happens. And that's when everything changes. So that is kind of how we're starting the week. And moving on to Wednesday. Wednesday is a very interesting day. It is May 7th by that point. The moon will actually be here in Virgo on the South Node. And which means it will be opposite of Saturn on the North Node. And it will be squaring Jupiter. And so this is definitely, and this is what I mean, because boom, we have, that whole revelation starting Tuesday and into Wednesday that I just talked about. And then we move into Wednesday completely, and it is about releasing control. Moon on the South Node in Virgo, releasing control. You can't control every little thing. You gotta have faith sometimes, even though it's hard, even though you can't always see how it's gonna work out and it feels mysterious and scary and vague and vast. And it's like, I don't know if I don't see how this is gonna work out. I don't have any evidence in front of me that literally shows me that this is gonna work out, because when I go to look for evidence, it's literally not there. That is the moon on the South Node. squaring Gemini, opposite Saturn and on the North Node. Can you have hope even when it's hard? Can you come back to the present moment and focus on one small practical thing that you can do? You don't have to have the whole, 50-step process and plan. Simplify it. Again, Jupiter and Gemini, bite-sized bits of information can make a big impact. Bring it down to a bite-sized level. Okay, well, even if the first step is just releasing control and surrendering, even if the first step is just like, well, you know what, like, I know that my first step should be to do this, but I'm not doing that because I'm scared of XYZ. Okay, well then your first step is to release those fears, figure out those fears, release that so then you can do the first step. Sometimes the first step is an internal one. It's making the decision to do something that you can do, that you, stop focusing on what you don't have control over and focus on what you do have control over. Like, so much of our time we waste on stuff that we don't have control over. I actually recently came across this like book from Mel Robbins, Tony Robbins' wife, and I've only like read like the first chapters of it. And it's just kind of reminding me about all of these different topics as well. But it's called the Let Them Theory. And it's basically all about this. Let them. Okay, somebody's mad at you because of XYZ. Let them be mad at you. Somebody wants to do XYZ, but you're trying to control it all. Okay, let them do what they want to do. Like she gives this like really great example in the book about how like her teenage son decided he wanted to go to prom like literally at the last minute. So she's like rushing around in the few days leading up to the prom to get every little thing ready and trying to get every little thing in order. And somehow she pulls it off. And then it starts pouring down rain as they're taking pictures on the day of the prom. And he doesn't seem to care at all. Neither does her date. But she, the mom, the author of the book, is like freaking out. She's like, well, what are you guys going to do? And let me go ahead and try to make you reservations to this restaurant. Because the restaurant they wanted to go to was really small. And so like, how are you guys all going to fit in that restaurant because they don't have enough room? So and she's like freaking out and stressing herself out and just like nuts. And everybody else is just like, what are you doing? Like, no, that's not what we want to do. No, we don't care, And eventually she said her daughter came up to her and she was like, let them get soaking wet. Let them go to the restaurant they want to go to. Let them ruin their prom if that's what they want to do. Like, stop. Let them have their day. It's not about you. It's about them. And she said that was kind of the start of all of this, and where she started realizing like how much we spend so much of our energy, whether actually physically doing something or even mentally doing something, trying to control the shit that we cannot control. And it's like, yeah, like, I mean, we sit there and we spend so much energy thinking about the future and thinking about the what ifs and thinking about the curveballs that could happen if we do make this decision, or if we do go after what we want, or if we do take that risk, or if we do. And it's like, okay, but you can't control most of that anyway. So why are you wasting your energy on it? Bring it back to right here, right now. What can you do right here, right now? What do you have control over? And it's like, okay, like if things happen that, you didn't plan for, then they happen. They're going to. It's always going to happen because we cannot control every little thing around us. So Moon on the South Node on Wednesday, conjunct Virgo, looks like a good day to let go of some control and have some damn faith and focus on the things that you do have control over. Do you need to get into a mindset routine to start shifting your mind? Because Wednesday, Mercury is finishing its conjunction with Chiron and Aries. Like, what curses, or what are we looking at as curses that are actually blessings? That's the beauty of Chiron. Changing our curses into our gifts. They don't have to be curses. And so the Moon on the South Node is like, okay, it's time to give up some of this like nitpicky energy. Needing it to be all a certain way, or all perfect, or all how you want it, just so you can feel safe internally. Because that's what it's all about. Like Moon and Virgo is like, I want to feel safe. And so I'm going to try to control my environment. That's kind of the shadow side. It's like, if I can control where things are and where things are at and how things are all going around me, if I can control the mechanics of how everything's working around me, then I feel safe and I feel like I'm in control. But That's literally impossible because we can't control every little thing in our environments, you know? And so Wednesday is going to be about releasing control, having faith, looking for the hope in the small moments, taking small actions, use one step at a time. One step at a time. And that's really how we work with this Pisces, Virgo axis, because Virgo is about the small, bite-sized mechanics of the physical realm and our physical situations and environments. And Pisces is about the vast, unknown future, destiny, the internal world, the spiritual world, the intuitive world, which we don't have control over. And so you work with these two, you combine them together by having faith when it comes to the things that you have no control over and focusing on what you can control. Release control, but not your own power. So releasing control is not like, oh, I just can't do anything, so I'm just gonna lay here all day and wait until the universe does something for me. Like, no, that's still not, being in your power. Let go of what you actually cannot control. And that's why it's also important to focus on what you do have control over. If your life feels like crap because you're, constantly having these bad habits and it's slowing you down and it's making you, feel weird and drained and tired, and so therefore you can't go after the things that you desire, you do have control over that. Change your habits, change your routines. Research the things that you want to do. There are things that are in your control that become very clear when we stop focusing on what's out of our control. So, moving on to Thursday. So Thursday is really interesting. We are going to have the moon in the sign of Libra. And when the moon moves into Libra, she's going to immediately oppose Neptune and then Venus, which is going to be very fun. And then they are going to trine, the moon's going to trine Pluto and Aquarius. So this is going to be a really interesting dynamic. I think that, because number one, first off, Venus is in Aries and Venus rules the sign of Libra. So the moon is now in her home sign, staring back at her. And what this always looks like is like Venus is over in Aries just having a wild time. Like, she's like, I am totally out of my nature here. I don't have to be like my normal self balancing out everybody else's decisions and problems and wants and needs and whatever. I'm focusing on my own shit. But the moon moves into Libra and is staring back at Venus like, but is this who you are? Showing her the other side of the things that she's doing or the things that she wants. Showing her the truth. Maybe the truth that she's not seeing. So on Thursday, it's almost like what we desire to do or act on versus what is fair, balanced, harmonious, peaceful. Feeling versus desire. What's good for others versus ourselves. And reconciling opposites in some way. Seeing the other side, oppositions. This could be like running kind of into a hard truth about the things that we want or desire. After finally kind of starting to get on board or finally starting to like face the mindset stuff, it's then like, okay, well, what about the feeling stuff? What we are attracted to or what we desire, what about how we feel about that? Are our feelings in alignment with that? What is the truth of our feelings? What is the truth of our internal world and our internal nature, our intuition? Libra shows us the other side of things to add balance. So this looks like in some way on Thursday that something is getting balanced out. And with the trine to Pluto, kind of feels like a deeper truth is revealed. Another side to the story is revealed. And this is right, the moon is building up to this Scorpio full moon happening, a few days after this. And so again, this is like, okay, well, another side is revealed. Maybe it's someone else's side. Maybe it's not even our own. It's like something we want, and then now it's getting revealed. It's somebody else's side is revealed, which in some way shows us or affects what we desire. Again, what we want versus what other people want. What we desire versus what other people desire. So we're really going to be coming into that on Thursday. And then on Friday, what's really interesting is the moon in Libra. Oh, what are we doing? Okay. The moon in Libra will then square Jupiter, or trine Jupiter, my bad, on Friday. And that's basically all that's happening on Friday. The moon in Libra is just going to trine Jupiter and Gemini, kind of giving us a very airy day. Definitely a great day for socialization. And whatever we're kind of realizing, the day before, it's like, okay, we're reflecting on it. We're coming into balance with it. We're learning how to balance like our desires versus maybe others' needs, or our wants versus other people's feelings. We're kind of sitting with that. And we're looking at, with the trine to Jupiter, we're kind of trying to look at different sides of everything. And then on Saturday, May 10th, the moon then moves into Scorpio right around the same time that Mercury moves into Taurus. And this is where the buildup of this Scorpio full moon, really we start feeling it. The next couple days are going to be tense in some way, shape, or form. Obviously, if you don't have a lot of fixed energy in your chart, or if, Scorpio and Taurus are in houses for you that are not, very pivotal, then this will differ. But for most people, we're going to be feeling some intensity. Number one, the moon is in fall in Scorpio, so she doesn't like to be here. The moon is about feeling safe and secure and emotionally comfortable, which is why she's normally exalted in Taurus, a comfy, earth, stable sign, and why she's in fall in Scorpio. Scorpio is turbulent, it is deep, it is emotional, which so is the moon, but Scorpio is a lot more chaotic and messy, and the moon is not that big of a fan of that. The moon doesn't feel safe in Scorpio. The moon in Scorpio really reveals to us our threats. It reveals to us where things are, where we have, scarcity, lack, old attachments that are really holding us back in some way, shape, or form. And so this really looks like over the next few days from Saturday on, number one, Mercury's very involved, and already very involved this week anyway with Mercury Chiron. There's a lot of truth I think that's going to be revealed this week. There's a lot that is going to be revealed this week, like, something coming out, something that was hidden coming to the surface in some way, shape, or form. And also, Mercury moving into Taurus, in my opinion, is kind of like, okay, Mercury leaving Aries, where it's been go, go, go. Mercury wants to plan. In an earth sign, it wants to plan something that feels stable, secure, and necessary and consistent. It's like we want to plan for whatever material, earthy things that we're starting to desire in our life. We want to start planning for those things. But before we can do that, it's like a vulnerable conversation needs to be had, or vulnerable emotions need to be, revealed, or some kind of truth needs to come out, and some kind of deep, hidden, internal shit, moon and Scorpio, needs to be revealed in some way, shape, or form. So this is really about the deep, hidden, internal versus the pretty, stable, external. We want this kind of pretty stable life, but And we want to have these pretty stable things in our lives, and we have certain maybe financial goals or wealth goals or possession goals or things that we want to go towards in our lives. But this moon in Scorpio is coming in to say, hey, there's some old shit, there's some old attachments, some old scarcity shit that's holding you back. And that is why this is coming up this week. We have to face this inner turmoil. We have to face these fears, these old attachments, these old survival mechanisms, these old scarcity wounds, this old shit to do with I need to fit in or do what society tells me to do because I've been conditioned, old programming, like I said in the beginning. This shit's coming up this week. If something comes up and it's triggering or revealing or it feels emotional or it feels like messy and chaotic, it's coming up because this is the shit that needs to be faced for us to have the stable plan, the secure plan, for us to go after the things that we desire. Because whatever this Scorpio full moon is pointing out is a ton of energy that has been stagnant, stored, lurking underneath of things that has been holding us back and likely leading to that Mercury Chiron energy I was describing earlier in the week of us feeling doubtful about ourselves, us feeling not good enough about ourselves, us feeling like, oh, I don't know if I can do this because of what happened before. Well, this Scorpio full moon's coming in to be like, well, let's face what happened before, baby. Like, let's look at this shit. All right, let's dig it up from the grave. Like, actually sit with these uncomfortable feelings and emotions, these uncomfortable attachments, this emotional, vulnerable shit, these insecurities, the scarcity, the loss, the lack, the oh my God, what if it all falls again? Like the emotional stuff, the tension that has been stored deep down that is holding us back from this stable, secure, comfortable, beautiful lives that we want to live. The true fulfillment. This is Taurus and Scorpio. This is all about desire, all about pleasure, all about wealth, abundance, security, stability, and all the different lessons that come with that. And so that is pretty much what is coming up this weekend. There may be a conversation or some news that all of a sudden makes us feel unstable, or all of a sudden shakes us up, or all of a sudden, makes us emotional, or a conversation or a truth or, information that gets revealed that feels kind of deep, but that is necessary. And it's like, we've got to face that, right? Like the way that I could see this, and this is just a metaphor, I'm not saying this is exactly what's going to happen for everybody, but the way I could see this is like you want to manifest, let's say, you want to manifest like a new car, okay? You're like, you know what? I need a new car, and I want a new car that's really nice and that looks really good, and, that feels more safe and that's going to last me longer. But like your current car is a mess. Your current car is a mess. You have not cleaned that bitch out in forever. And she is barely hanging on by a thread, but she's a survivor, right? Like Scorpio energy. She's a survivor. So she's hanging on there. But you also haven't even made a payment on your car in like forever, because she's just barely hanging on and you're just like, screw it. I'm just not going to make my payment. So now you owe, and now you're going into debt, right? And so next thing you know, like, those bills come showing up at your door, and you're like, damn. And it's hitting you all at once, and you're like, oh my God, like, how am I going to get this new car? I've been manifesting. This must mean my manifestation is not working, because that's what we always go to. Look, it's not working. I just got a bill. No, this is the universe saying, take care of this shit before you get something new, because you don't have the capacity to have this old shitty car and have a new car, right? Like that is so much what happens. I cannot count how many times like I've been manifesting like a new thing, like I'd be manifesting like a new home, a new place, like whatever. And then I would have all of a sudden, and I would feel okay, I would feel the momentum start building. I would feel like things were starting to move, and it was going to happen. And then all of a sudden I would have a bill hit me that I completely forgot about from months ago. And if I don't pay it now, I'm going to it's going to be really bad. And I'm like, oh damn, and I'm like, well, I thought, and then, but then it's like, oh, wait, how am I, going to step into this next level and get this new thing that I desire if I am still holding on to all this baggage, right? So the Scorpio full moon is revealing the baggage that needs to go, because you only have space for so much. You only have a certain level of what you can hold in terms of your energetic capacity. And so here's the thing. So much of our energy is leaking, going to all these other things, trying to hold on to past baggage or procrastinate on it or avoid it. That's still energy being spent. And so when you start facing the baggage and the burdens and the debts, which can be so much more than just financial, okay? Debts can be a lot of things. Your dishes that you're saving to do till later. That dirty car that you've been wanting to clean out, but you've been putting it off, so many things. It's the things that bother you that you're kind of putting off for your future self, but then you're expecting your future self to deliver you something new right now. And it's well, what are you doing for your future self? So it's all about energy, though. It's a dance of energy. When you rid yourself of something in your life, guess what? Now you have more energy. I've been talking the last couple weeks about how I quit vaping and how I'm quitting nicotine and my journey with that. I had no freaking idea what would fill that spot of me not vaping. I just knew that I desired to not vape. And the gain for me was my voice will be better. I won't have to clear my throat as much, et cetera, et cetera. And I have now realized what the gain is, because what's came in and taken its place is I have so much more energy now. I almost feel like a child again. And it's so weird because I've been, using tobacco or nicotine since I was pretty much a child, like a teenager, millennial here. I was a wild child, wild teenager, doing a lot of stuff I shouldn't have been at a very, very young age. Anyway, so I started smoking at 12, okay? And on and off when I was a teenager, but then became pretty consistent, once I became an adult, and have been pretty consistent since, until I, traded off smoking for vaping and realized that that was even more of an addictive habit than smoking. And so now that I've stopped, it's I've gotten all this energy back, and I don't know if my brain's almost in a weird way, defaulting back to when I was a child and I first started smoking. I don't know, but I've just gotten all this energy back. I'm super energetic and playful. And it's just been awesome. It's been awesome. I feel different, and that is so cool. And I've noticed that I've noticed that with everything, any habit that I've quit, anything that I've let go of in my life that I truly felt like it was bothering me, or it was time to let it go, or it wasn't aligned with me anymore. It's something beautiful comes to take its place. I actually do get something I've been wanting, or, I gain in some way. And that is this Scorpio Taurus axis. When we allow ourselves to shed and purge the old, we are able to gain something new and beautiful. It's also the mold analogy that I used last week or the week before. If you have mold growing in your basement and you choose to ignore it and just focus on the top floor and make the top floor look pretty, it's only going to look pretty for so long. It's also our houses looking all nice, but underneath of our houses we have sewages and gutters and this whole gross system down there, which is very scorpionic, the stuff we don't want to deal with kind of underneath. That is what this full moon and is building up to and trying to show us. And I think it's going to start as early as Saturday. We're going to start seeing having some uncomfortable information come in, or some uncomfortable conversations that will seem like it's throwing a wrench in our plans, or bringing our fears to light in some way, or bringing old emotions up in some way. But remember that this is part of it. This needs to come up for some reason, that this is a cathartic experience, that what is coming up is meant to come up and be purged, so that you have more energy to go after what is, what you actually desire. And that it's coming up for a reason, and it's coming up likely because it was neglected, avoided or not dealt with at some other point that you put it off till later. Or maybe you just didn't know how to deal with it at the time, or you couldn't deal with it at the time, and that's okay. It's not about blaming yourself or getting mad at yourself. It's just about facing it. Facing the icky, emotional, vulnerable stuff, because that is what this is all about. And then even from Saturday to Monday, this is what the whole game plan is, you guys. But on Sunday, particularly, the next thing that we have is the Scorpio moon is going to square Mars in Leo. And this is definitely a tense aspect, definitely tension building. Mars does rule Scorpio, though. So there is kind of like a back channel here of them, like, actually, Mars kind of being able to understand and work with the moon in Scorpio. But this is definitely this definitely looks like a trigger. This looks like almost like a somebody's emotions and ego getting triggered and them acting very immature or very defensive in some way, shape, or form because of it. That's kind of like the analogy I really get. But it's some kind of built up tension, some kind of like challenge between this is what I want, or this is how I want to look and appear, versus, oh, there's this deeper emotional stuff that I guess I'm going to have to deal with, or I guess I'm going to have to face, or I don't want to look vulnerable. Like, I want to look like strong and courageous. Like, I don't want to look weak and vulnerable right now. So there's some kind of battle with these two. It may feel like the emotional, vulnerable Scorpio stuff is like getting in the way of what we want to do or how we want to be. But either way, this could definitely be some very tense, heated emotions that have been building that need to come out. So this could look like a bit of a temper tantrum or a bit of a like small emotional explosion in a way, to kind of, like an emotional eruption, to kind of help some of these emotions, come out. It's like heated emotions. Like Mars and Leo is kind of like heating up the water in Scorpio and the Scorpio moon. And, that water kind of might boil over a little bit. And it may be a little bit more dramatic than it needs to be. So, and then we move into Monday, which is literally, the 12th, and that's literally where we have the Scorpio full moon. And again, on this full moon, the sun's going to be conjunct Uranus. And so this is adding a whole nother layer to it. It's like, okay, if you want the freedom that you desire, Venus ruling this, the sun in Uranus and Aries, if you want the independence and the freedom and the life that you desire and the things that you desire, the physical things that you desire, you have to face these deep fears. Mars ruling the Scorpio full moon. You have to face these deep fears and realize that you are the one and you can handle it. Going back to that, Mars in Leo. You have to have courage. You have to have courage in yourself. Not from an egotistical, icky place, but from a place of like, I believe in myself. I believe in what I'm capable of. I'm going to do the honorable thing, or I'm going to do the thing that is within my integrity, or I'm going to be confident in my abilities. And I'm going to face these old scarcity fears, or these old survival mechanisms, or these old defense mechanisms surrounding me being scared to be vulnerable, or me being scared of going after the things I want, or this old programming that tells me that I'm not enough, and that tells me that I can't grow through these glass ceilings that I've put on myself because I am the mastermind of my life. Like, I've created everything that I have now, so I can create something else. Like, that's what this is all about. Getting out of survival, getting out of this old scarcity mindset that tells us we're never enough, it's never enough, I'm just going to stay here, I can't do X, I can't do Y, I don't have enough for that, it's not going to work if I do that, last time I did that, it didn't work out, it's, I'm scared, I have to do things the way that society tells me to do things, I've got to fit in, or what are other people going to think, or like, this is what I was told, or this is how like my parents said I should do it, or this is what everybody else is doing at my age, or like whatever the fuck, And I'm just trying to see the bottom of my notes here. So this is something hidden to light to liberate us, Uranus, liberation, freedom, maybe in a shocking way, but to liberate us from old secrets, burdens, fears, you know, the square to Pluto on the way up, programming, plus Mercury is going to be squaring Pluto as well. Old programming that's keeping us stuck. That's keeping us stuck in a life that maybe we're not happy in, or in a life where we feel something's missing and we're scared to go after it because of other shit. And so that is how I read this week and this full moon that's coming. There are going to be some uncomfortable there's going to be some uncomfortable turbulence, just like on a plane. It's going to be a little bit of a bumpy ride. There's going to be some fears that come up. There's going to be some, like, you know, kind of clutching our pearls moments that comes up, and maybe some things that we weren't expecting, or at the very least, just some, you know, sensitive emotions, whatever. But there's going to be some emotional shit coming up that we need to face, surrounding our fear, surrounding scarcity, surrounding lack, surrounding not believing in ourselves, surrounding, you know, courage, surrounding what we desire, surrounding having faith in what we can't see. If we have, even if we just have a feeling, as long as we have that inner knowing, that's what matters. Everything else will manifest. If you hold on to that inner knowing and you are freaking damn sure that that inner knowing is going to happen, no matter what, it will. Allow the universe to surprise you. Delegate what you can't handle to the universe or to whatever you believe in. Make a routine if you have to get into some kind of meditation or belief or, you know, mindset, whatever, if that's helpful for you, to ground you into a faith practice every day to help you release what you can't control. That's working with these energies and with the Virgo and Pisces axis. Okay, last but not least, a few more things that I want to say really quick about this week is that, like I said, the past fears and energy that really needs to be shed is going to come to light this week. So that we have, this is like an energetic exchange, right? Also very much Scorpionic, alchemy, taking something and turning it into something else. So it's like what we have a certain level of energetic capacity. To get to the next level, we have to release something that our energy is going to, because it's no longer aligned. So it's like if we want more energy to be behind us and manifesting the desires that we want, or going after the desires that we want, we have to let go of what no longer is serving us. And so this is about shedding certain things that are taking our energy behind the scenes, like secrets, burdens, old emotional stuff, old fears, so that we can have that energy back and have that much more energy to create with what we desire, that much more energy backing us in manifesting the stuff that we do desire. So, and a lot of this is like becoming, like stretching our energetic capacity to become more powerful than the blocks, than the circumstances in our lives. Like, you are more powerful than your circumstances. And so often we forget that. So it's like you're becoming bigger than your circumstances and your limiting beliefs and old programming and old fears. And what you desire has to become bigger and more important to you than what you fear. And that is what this week is about. It's like, okay, you have these desires, you have these certain things that you want, you know, you have all of that stuff, but you also have all these fears that are keeping you still, that are keeping you frozen, that are sucking up most of your energy. So your desire can't really get much of your energy because a lot of it's going to your fears. So that's why these fears are coming up this week. That's why this old shit, this old baggage, this old stuff from the past is coming up this week, because you can't carry it anymore. And because if you really truly desire this, it needs more of your energy. And with all this Taurus energy, we're really being asked to stop, to slow down, to get still, to enjoy the moment, to sit back and settle in and release control. But not our power. Release control, not our power, not our sense of accountability. When we stop, what happens is, when we've been going so fast with all the Aries energy that we've had recently, and then we finally stop and slow down to smell the roses and relax, what happens is the weight of all the stuff that we weren't facing, or all the stuff that we were running from, just starts hitting us. And that's kind of what the Scorpio full moon is. It's like, okay, all this dead weight is now hitting us. And that's a good thing, because now it's becoming very obvious what we need to face and what needs to go. And part of facing it means feeling it, actually feeling the stuff that comes up, not just repressing it, allowing yourself to feel it. That's how you're going to get through this week. Feeling it, allowing yourself to go into it, become messy, journal it out. Just, having a level of being aware and observing yourself feeling it at the same time. Something I do to deal with fear a lot is I go right into like the worst possible case scenario. I'm like, okay, what am I so scared of? What's the worst possible case scenario that my brain keeps going to? And it's like, okay, well, it's this, this, and that. I'm like, okay. And I go right into it as if it's happening. I'm like, okay, well, if it happened, and I really sit with it, and I sit with any discomfort I have with it, any fear I have with it, until I'm no longer scared of it. Until I kind of turn it into something I'm no longer scared of. And then it doesn't have control over me anymore. It doesn't have power over me anymore. My energy is not going to it anymore. And so that's how I deal with a lot of that. And that's definitely a very Scorpionic thing. I have a lot of Scorpio placements. And so the worst case scenario thing is definitely a good way to just go right into it. Like, okay, worst possible case scenario. If it were to happen, is there any way that I would survive? Is there any way I could make a badass story out of it? Is there any way that I'd be okay? Is there any way it would maybe be a good thing, right? Like, I try to find a way to alchemize it, because that's what this is all about. The Scorpio energy is alchemizing it. Like, really taking it and turning it into something else. And so, last but not least, I want to talk about really quick one last thing for those of you that are still here, because I know that you're a badass alien if you are still here. Comment down below. But I like your suggestions, I like your advice, and I would really love to know if you were to join me in some kind of like exclusive container, like a membership, or it's probably going to be like a membership, but it may have like courses in it, or we may do different things astrologically. What would you like to see? Like, if you had, like, I have a lot of different ideas, and I'm just trying to figure out how to organize them, And so I'd love to know, though, like, if you were in some kind of container, astrologically related, but also like spirituality related, self-development related, like, what would you like to have help with on like a weekly basis or monthly basis, or what would you like to learn about, or whatever, either just in general or with me. So if you could please give me your feedback down below. Just, you can type in like badass alien, also feedback, and then type your feedback. I would really appreciate it, because I have so many ideas, and I'm just trying to figure out like how to organize them. Like, if I want to do a big membership with like my astrology course, or if I want to redo my astrology course and then build on top of that, and then just have this big membership that's like a catalog of like all the different things that I do, plus add, live things to it, every week or a few times a month. Like, I don't know. It's just, I'm still like trying to work it all out, but I would love to hear your feedback as well, if that's something that you would be interested in. And even if you're not interested in it, or like you don't want to sign up, if you were interested in it, what would that look like for you? So let me know down below. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching and supporting my videos. I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys next week. Actually, no, later this week, for the Scorpio Full Moon video, where we go even more in depth to the Scorpio energy. And yeah,